Welcome everyone to the City of International Falls regular City Council meeting for December 2nd, 2019. Our first order of business would be a pledge allegiance to the flag. If you could please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. City Administrator, please note that all members of the council are present. First item on our agenda is to approve the agenda. We have two additions that have been added. One is under the consent agenda, which is to accept a letter of resignation from Heather Olson, emergency medical technician, effective November 30th. And under new business, item number 4, resolution for an application for off-site gambling for the Rainier Recreation Club to conduct a raffle at the Elks Lodge. Your pleasure with the motion.
Move to approve the agenda as written.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the agenda with the additions by Councillor Kraus. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay.
We have a second by Councillor Buller. Discussion on the agenda or the additions? Hearing none, question.
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll vote yes. Motion carries. Next, we have the minutes from our regular City Council meeting on November 18th, 2019.
Move to accept.
We have a motion to accept by Councillor Buller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councillor Nelson. Motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes. Motion carries. Next, we have our special City Council meeting minutes of Tuesday, November 19th, 2019.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Councillor Kraus.
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Deitch. Any discussion? Hearing none, question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes. Motion carries. Next, we go to the payment of claims. First, we have monies coming from the lodging tax fund, the 812 fund, of $347.02. Then we have accounts payable from the City of International Falls of $279,662.98. Airport commission claims of $25,832.87. Phase 2 claims for the terminal project of $52,764.56. Runway reconstruction project Phase 1 claims $148,546.37, and Phase 3 runway reconstruction of $301,473.81 for a total of accounts payable of $808,280.59. Your pleasure with the resolution.
Motion to accept.
Okay, we have a motion by Councillor Deitch. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councillor Kraus. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have audience. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the council that is not on the agenda? Hearing none, there will be an opportunity later in the meeting as well. Going down to the consent agenda, we have 3 items. Our first is approval of the 2020 license renewal applications that were presented, and that is Brad Edisted, snowplow license, city cab van service, a taxi license, Menards 3507 for a fireworks license, Shoblam Landscape and Nursery, snowplow license, and Steve Boyum Construction, a snowplow license. Next, we have to authorize travel and training for elected officials to the League of Minnesota Cities newly elected officers class. And that is, I lost the date. Oh, anyways, it's in January. And then acknowledge the letter of resignation from Heather Olson as an EMT. Your pleasure with the consent agenda.
So move to accept.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilor Buller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilor Kraus. There's no discussion on the consent agenda. Question?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I'll vote yes. Motion carries. Next, we go to new business. Our first item is license renewals that include tobacco, liquor applications, and that is Rose Garden for a 3-2 on-sale bar and license, bar license and restaurant license. Timber Pins, not Timber Bins, an on-sale liquor license, restaurant license, bowling alley license, Sunday liquor license, and a pool table license. TRM2 Incorporated, doing business as Chocolate Moose Restaurant Company, and that is a restaurant license and a wine on-sale license. TRM5 Incorporated, doing business as Sammy's Pizza and Restaurant, an on-sale liquor license, a restaurant license, and a Sunday liquor license. And the Viking Lounge LLC, doing business as the Viking Bar and Lounge, an off-sale liquor license, on-sale liquor license, restaurant license, jukebox license, pool table license, and a Sunday liquor license. Your chair would entertain a motion to accept those licenses.
Motion to accept the license renewal for 2020.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilor Deitch. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilor Nelson. Discussion.
Mr. Mayor. Chief Maston,
Yes.
any issues with any of these licenses?
Councilor Kraus, these applications are filled out prior to this meeting. They're reviewed and signed before the meeting. There are no issues with these applications.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I'll vote yes. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is to approve Orton Motor Incorporated, doing business as Orton's International Falls Cenex, a 3-2 off-sale license application for January 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2020.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Councilor Kraus. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilor Buller. Any discussion? Hearing none, question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I'll vote yes, motion carries. Next, we have a resolution to approve application to conduct off-sale gambling for the International Falls Rec Hockey Association to conduct a raffle at Cary Park on March 15th, 2020.
So move to accept.
We have a motion to accept by Councilor Buller. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councilor Deitch. Any discussion? Hearing none, question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I will vote yes, motion carries. Next, we have resolution approving an application to conduct off-site gambling for the Rainier Rec Club to conduct a raffle at the Elks Lodge to conduct a raffle at the Elks Lodge.
February 2nd.
February 2nd. I went through my packet and I didn't put it back in the same order. That's where I made my mistake this time. On February 2nd.
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Councilor Kraus. Second?
Second.
We have a second by Councilor Nelson. Any discussion? Hearing none, question?
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries. All right. Next is to consider the request of the Kuching Economic Development Authority to delay loan payment date to March 2020 for the 2017 Cold Box construction project. At our last KEDA meeting, the executive director let us know that the finances have gotten a little bit tighter than what they had hoped for. I believe it was 2 months ago that they had indicated to the council that there would be a chance that they would have to delay the repayment. This isn't, in no capacity is this making it so that we're paying any money back into KEDA or anything like that. It's just the way that the finances have ran in the last year or so, for the first time since they've been doing the cold box projects, that money has gotten a little bit tight. So they'd like to defer the payment from December of 2020 or 2019 to March of 2020 once the monies come in from JLR and the other organizations that pay into KEDA. They'll make the payments back to the city, so it would just be a little bit later than before. Ken, do we need to have an official motion on that?
Mayor, Council, I have one item to add, and then I can answer that question. I had a conversation with Paul Nevin, the executive director of KEDA. He indicated to me in the phone conversation that the county was actually contemplating extending it to May 1st rather than March, to just afford a little bit more opportunity for the persons leasing property and making payments from the cold box to actually make the disbursements directly to KEDA before they had to make disbursements to both us and the county. So he suggested that perhaps the city would want to follow suit with the county and just have the same due date in May versus March of 2020. If that's what the council wishes to do, that's fine. I would just add that the information that we included in here was a copy of the resolution we adopted back in September of last year to extend it to the end of this year, and you can see the payment schedule. If the council would move forward to change it to May, then we need to draft a new payment schedule that will have different revised interest earnings and stuff that will be payable to both the county and the city. Will both be made whole. It's just, as you pointed out, changing the repayment schedule and pushing it off about roughly 5 months.
Okay.
But I do not have a new resolution for you to consider until you take action. So you can take action and direct me to prepare one, and I can have one available for our signature tomorrow, or we can wait to review it at the next meeting on December 16th if the council's more comfortable with that.
What's the council's feel? I don't mind waiting until the 16th.
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
So on September 3rd, approximately 90 days ago, we gave them an extension of 61 days. The loan payment was due on November 1st. It is now due on December 31st. And they're asking for an additional extension. My question is, did we borrow this money, or they borrowed our money, or what's happening with the interest? Because if you don't make a payment, the interest goes up. So are we going to collect more interest by delaying this payment, or are we going to just charge them the interest they would have had if they made it on time back on November 1st? What's our plan there? Because it feels to me like we've already given them 61 days and they can't make the payment. So now they're pushing it out, and you're saying they want to push it out to May. That's an exceptional amount of time. That's 7 months. This was due on November 1st. If they pay it on May 1st, that's 7 months.
If I may, I think the way that I look at this is we are in a partnership with the county. So it's the city's money and the county's money, and we put it into a separate fund, which we are jointly agreed upon with the county, that's another entity that we work together. So we put half of our money in and they put in half of their money to do a project that's going to raise money to give back to the parent organizations. So basically, we borrowed the money to ourselves and we're delaying the payment to ourselves. However, there is an interest that does come back to both the city and the county the way that KEDA works. It's still ultimately we borrowed the money to ourselves and we're paying ourselves back with interest. So when this first came up a couple of months ago, it was the executive director's hopes that he would be able to push out the payment till spring of 2020. It was the KEDA board, myself, Mayor Anderson, and then the two county reps and the two at-large reps that made the decision that we would accept that that we would pay in March. However, it was the executive director that said we may be able to still make the payments in December. So the board had already said we're willing to extend out those payments. It was just a matter of hoping that we would be getting the money in from JLR and we wouldn't have as much expenses on the early part of this year getting ready for this year's cold weather testing. But again, it's just paying yourself back the money.
With interest.
With interest.
I have a question.
Yes.
So it was due in September and we extended it to December, and then there's only the one check mark by 2017. So was the 2018 payment extended to September and now, or am I just reading this wrong?
I don't know the answer to that. We would have to talk to Paul on that one specifically.
Okay.
That payment should have been made.
That's what I assume. I don't
There
think
should
we're
be a check
behind.
mark.
If you look at the last page in the packet,
Yep.
11/1/2018 payment, it's initialed by Brad Edisted that it was completed on the 26th of September 18, reconciling that we received it.
So the September one would be for this year?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you have a point you'd like to make? If you want to come up and...
As everybody probably knows, I'm Ron Sutherland, I manage the JLR site here.
Yeah.
Just so you know, all of the JLR payments were made to KEDA
Okay.
as of September 30th of this year.
Okay.
So our payments for the annual lease of the cold box, plus our payments for the annual lease of the workshop
Okay.
facility.
Okay.
So there's no delay because of non-payment by JLR.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Mayor. Administrator Anderson, so will the amortization scale be rewritten, or are we going to stay with the interest where it is?
Mayor, Council, my
Yes.
discussion with the executive director is that the amortization schedule, or the schedule, will be changed, and that the interest will be reflected for a delay in repayment of the principal, and so the interest component would go up slightly based on the 2% interest rate. And again, for consistency, and because the county was looking at May, that's the only reason why I brought up the suggestion, is that the city consider the same thing, so that the payment schedules would be the same to both the city and the county. There wouldn't be differences between the two. It would be simpler for KEDA, and the interest component, the city will be made whole, and the county will be made whole with that proposal.
So, okay, with that in mind, I move that we move forward with this, with the loan payment being due on May 1st of 2020.
Okay, we have a motion to
Which is...
push up.
I'm going to double check what day of the week that is, just to make sure it's not on the weekend.
And Mayor, I'm not sure what the date is. He talked about May. I'm not sure if it's May 30th
That's a
or
Friday.
May 1st, but whatever the date, to be consistent with the county's application, is the council comfortable with that? And I'll reflect that in the resolution that you have before you on December 16th.
And we could certainly address that as that comes closer, but that's a 7-month extension.
So we have a motion. Is your motion to extend the payment until...
To May 1st of 2020.
May 1st specifically. Okay.
Well, the payment was due on November 1st.
Okay.
And then, so it would make sense that that's 7 months exactly.
Okay. So we have a motion to extend payment to May 1st. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Discussion.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Again, we can certainly readdress this if the county comes back with a different date. We can look at it later down the road, but I think just to cover it for now, let's get it out to May and give them an opportunity. But I think 7 months is pretty fair, in
Okay.
my opinion.
All right.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
That's not going to change the 11/1/2020 payment, though.
Shouldn't, no. Any other discussion? Hearing none, question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes. Motion carries. Next, approve the agreement for the Information Systems Professional Services between the North Cooch Area Sanitary District and the City of International Falls. Administrator Anderson.
Mayor, Council, we've had conversations with the relatively new executive director of the North Cooch Area Sanitary District, and they've had some need for assistance with their technology, both the phone systems that they have as well as the computer systems. They reached out to the city to see if the city's information systems administrator would be available to assist with some of the technology challenges they've had there. We had a discussion of various options available to North Cooch, and she had visited with the North Cooch Board of Directors at their last meeting, and they indicated that they were satisfied and comfortable with moving forward, having the city information systems administrator, who's Todd Ojala, provide service to them in accordance with the last page. That's his pay scale, including wages, so it would be a loaded wage rate, to assist them on an as-needed basis. I indicated that I would be comfortable, I would be fine with that. As the council knows, about 88% of all the revenues that are received by North Cooching Area Sanitary District are paid by the City of International Falls sewer customers. So any savings to them and any improvement in services is a benefit to us as well as a benefit to the sewer district. So in order to make that happen, I've drafted this agreement for providing information systems professional services to the sewer district. And as you can see on the second to the last page, it was acceptable to the executive director. She's already signed it. And so I'm just asking for council authorization to approve this and then authorize signatures of the mayor and myself. And then we will make Todd services available to the sewer district on a as-needed basis, and then we will just invoice them for any services he provides on a monthly basis.
Okay. Council's pleasure with the services agreement.
I'll make the motion to accept the agreement.
Okay, we have a motion by Councillor Deitch. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Buller. Discussion. Hey, Ken, in our conversations, because we've talked about this over the last week or so, just trying to get it onto the agenda, can you just discuss in brief the concerns on competing with area local businesses and how that was resolved or discussed?
Well, I raise that concern, because there's our other local entities or individuals that can provide these kinds of services, and again, because of the cooperative relationship that we have with North Cooch as a public entity, and the fact that we're a significant, we're their primary customer, and we pay 88% of their total expenses through our revenues derived from our customers. So I laid out those options. I said you can contract with a local contractor and enter into an agreement with them to provide those services, and they just felt that, again, having that close relationship with us and the fact that Mr. Ojala is available on a day-to-day basis, that they could get more immediate service from us, and they were comfortable with doing that. I was concerned. I don't like to compete with the private sector, but just trying to get time frames in line with what their needs are, and the fact that we also provide services to them with payroll and other kinds of administrative services, it just made sense to continue with this professional services agreement.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, question.
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll vote yes. Motion carries. Okay, next we have our meeting agenda for 2020. If you guys have had a chance to look at that. As of right now, the only thing that is a little bit different is we have Committee of the Whole meetings on the second Monday. We did have those last year, however, we didn't have a lot of those. So with that being said, it is my intention to have a Committee of the Whole meeting every month at 4 o'clock on the second Monday. My other question would be to this board, is 4:30 an acceptable time for the meetings for this board? And do you feel that it's fair for the community as a whole, knowing that people that may want to be at this meeting may not be getting off work till 5? I'm very acceptable to anything that the council chooses. I just want to have that discussion in the event that changing the time makes more sense.
Mayor?
Yes.
I guess maybe ask some of the community out here what their thoughts are. Is 4:30 too early? Is 5 o'clock better? Or is 4:30 just fine?
Yeah. Does anyone have any thoughts in the audience that would like to raise about our meeting times? Because I have heard in the community that being at 4:30, it's a little bit more challenging for people that are working. With that being said, we do have evenings such as tonight where we have 4 back-to-back meetings, so it can end up being a long night if we started a little bit later. But I've always thought 4:30 works well. With that being said, I'm always open to change.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I wonder if we shouldn't, maybe since you opened this can of worms, I wonder if we shouldn't seek public comment, and we still have one more meeting this year, and maybe seek public comment and then talk about it next Monday at our Committee of the Whole meeting, where we can't make a decision, but we can certainly make a recommendation and just see what we hear from people. I too have heard from multiple people that 4:30 is too early. So although I would love to be home at a decent hour, I just know that it's important for people to have an opportunity to be here. And I think personally for me, I think moving it back to 5 p.m. might facilitate some more people being here. I have no data to back that up, but it's just my opinion on the matter.
It's always best to make decisions with no data. Was that a motion to table?
That would be a motion to table to seek further input from individuals. I would assume that this would be on the radio and in the Daily Journal.
Fair enough.
We could put something on our Facebook site.
You want a poll?
Yes.
Yes, we want a poll. Okay.
You're the best, Emma. All right, so we have a motion to table by Councillor Kraus. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Deitch. Motion and second to table. We'll have a discussion about this at our COW meeting.
Why?
No discussion? Question?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll vote yes. Motion carries. Committee of Whole, COW.
The whole.
Whatevs. All right, any other business to come before the council? Hearing none, we will go to reports of the administrator, attorney, and department heads.
Mayor, I would just point out that we have a Truth and Taxation meeting tonight at 6 o'clock, and following this meeting is a EDA meeting to have a conversation with George Eilert and our municipal advisor from Northland Security, so I just wanted to remind the council of that. The final reminder would be, as I had sent an email out last week before Thanksgiving regarding pay for salaried employees, and I will be making an adjustment, or there will be no adjustments to the pay that's salaried employees are getting for this year, but I would like to have a conversation with the City Council at the Committee of the Whole meeting, COW, on December 9th, so we can discuss options at that time and look at making adjustments in 2020, so if necessary. So it might be something that the Committee of the Whole wants to refer to the Human Resources Committee. It's kind of up to the Council, but I'll have more information at that meeting a week from tonight.
So I just want to reiterate then, we will not be having any changes on our salaried employees for 2019?
That's correct.
Okay.
At least not for this pay period.
Okay.
It's up to the Council decision and what we decide at the Committee of the Whole in the December 16th meeting.
Okay. Thank you. City Attorney?
Mr. Mayor, Council, I've met with City Administrator Anderson and am working to get the annexation finalized for those properties that are owned by the city, and hopefully should have that done soon.
You're awesome. Any other department heads? Chief Manassa and Chief Maston, could you guys come up here and sit at the front table? Yeah, right there. That would be fantastic. Can you guys tell me about Guns and Hoses? Tell me all about Guns and Hoses.
Guns and Hoses was a competition set up by the Salvation Army for bell ringing. Each department, I believe the sheriff and police are together and the fire and ambulance are together in a competition of 10 hours of bell ringing to see who can raise the most money.
That's fantastic. Chief Maston, how's that going?
Fine.
So,
I don't think my officers have taken the bell. I think that starts tomorrow for us. The sheriff's office has been ringing it right now.
okay, so what happens to the winner? What does the winner get?
We don't know yet.
Don't you think that there should be a prize for a winner, or even better than a prize for the winner? Maybe like a punishment for the loser?
No.
It's charity, everybody wins.
So I was just thinking, if the community wins by you guys raising this kind of money, don't you think it would be a wonderful idea for whatever department heads don't win to join me in a polar plunge in Fort Francis? Don't you think that would be a great idea for the loser to join me for a polar plunge?
No. Under no circumstances am I doing a polar plunge.
Don't you think that maybe Sheriff Hedlund should do a polar plunge?
Good luck.
Can he wear a suit?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, it's a great idea. Then just win, because he's in.
Oh, you're in for the polar plunge?
Yeah, he's in for the polar plunge.
I don't think that's very helpful.
I think it's very healthy, but I just wanted you guys to raise awareness, and I think what you guys are doing is absolutely fantastic. It's a great part of the community. It's being seen, and I just want to thank both of you guys for having your departments be part of it. So thank you guys so much. That's all it was.
Mr. Mayor.
What?
May I? Gentlemen, thank you for Friday night. It was amazing. Fireworks display was awesome. Police presence was great. I think everything, in my opinion, I think everything went by great. So kudos to both of your departments. You guys did a wonderful job, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. All right. Reports of the council, committees, boards, commissions. All right. Anybody have anything? I did get your list of people for the Blight Committee. I'll have that in January. Your recommendations, I will use those for that committee. My mayor's report, it actually was a pretty laid back 2 weeks. I did meet with Peter Kegema, which is a 4-time nationally published person about loving where you live. Myself and Ted Saxton have been working with him partly with I Falls Nice movement, and we're actually going to be bringing in a couple of more things. moving into our community. But these aren't things that cost money. It's just doing awesome stuff in the community, which get people to love where they live, and then they become more engaged in our community. And then we have more events like last Friday, which was fantastic. So I will keep you guys updated on some of the conversations and what we're doing as a group. I did bring up at the Rec Commission, at KEDA, and at the airport the proposed bylaw changes. The proposed bylaw changes sound like they are a possibility in both the Rec Commission and in the Airport Commission. The likelihood of us being able to change the bylaws in KEDA, it is most likely not going to be able to happen because of how we receive funding through the IRRB. We are looking at adding advisory teams with local experts in KEDA, so that is a way of getting some more people involved. And then the last piece is the Home for the Holidays Parade. It was an amazing event. I want to thank Rainy Lake Medical Center for the countless hours that they spent organizing all aspects of the night, from the parade, the walking path, the food vendors, flag ceremonies, fire pits, fireworks. It was all so inviting. It was a wonderful piece of our community. I would like to publicly thank Andrea and Rob Pastor for their dedication to their new hometown. From today forth, they will no longer be from somewhere else. They are officially from International Falls now. So when anyone asks them where they're from, now they have to say International Falls because the mayor said so. I want to thank all the groups that put together floats, their time for the parade. It was great. I want to recognize the Public Works crew, the firemen, the police, county and federal employees that assisted during the event. I want to personally thank my colleagues, Councillor Nelson and Councillor Kraus, along with everybody else that worked on the BYP and the Rec Commission float. Not that you would have known it because we didn't have a banner for the BYP or the Rec Commission, but I want to thank both of these two for, and specifically Councillor Nelson for her leadership on our float. It was so much fun to be part of a group that wanted to do something like that. And lastly, I want to recognize my VFW family for their work on the flag ceremony. Commander Alan Story, Bruce Lewis, Brian Briggs, and John Sorodiak. This event shows how sometimes we need fresh eyes on events. We've seen this in the past with Bacchus giving up the triathlon and Evolve U taking it over, and it was better than before. And I think that we can all honestly say that this parade, just having some fresh eyes on it, made it better than it was before. And change is good, and it takes an engaged community to do these wonderful things. Last thing is we had when I first became mayor, I set a whole bunch of goals for the first 100 days. We only have 2 things that left are still to be addressed, and it sounds like annexation is almost being finished up. And we still need to create a media plan for the roads that are going to be chose for the 2020 sales tax projects, and we'll be working on that through the next Public Works meeting. So I think we are on track for where we want to be as a community, and we'll be moving forward on some other stuff. Last opportunity for audience participation if anyone wants to bring something to the council today. Hearing none, we have a correspondence. We got the minutes for the Visitors Convention Bureau and for the Airport Commission. Our Committee of the Whole is going to be next week, December 10th or 9th at 4 o'clock. And our next regular City Council meeting is on December 16th, 2019. You guys are all welcome to stay after for this amazing EDA meeting we're about to have. It's going to be fantastic. With nothing else to come before this City Council meeting, it is adjourned.